A light exploded from Goku's body, appearing brilliantly as never before. His body radiated an absolute galactic energy. Everyone, including the angels and the High Priestess himself, were in shock. The High Priestess, who seemed speechless, said in a low tone, "Where does all this power come from? How did you get to this level?" Goku, who looked at the High Priestess coldly, responded with a firm and resonant voice. "This power is not only anger for what you did to my family, but also the priest's denial. He taught me the secret of the complete galactic transformation, and now I'm going to use it to restore the order you destroyed." Goku's words were like a thunderbolt for everyone. The High Priestess, who was trying to retreat slowly, realized that he could no longer escape his fate. The angels, who watched in silence, began to murmur, but their eyes were full of fear of the power they witnessed. Goku, who began to shine even more, pointed to the High Priestess and said with a trembling voice, "You are all to blame, not only for what you did to my family, but also because you killed the priest. He deserved a chance to redeem himself, but you destroyed him." The High Priestess, trying to show strength, said in an irritated and arrogant tone, "Goku, you don't understand, and what we did was to maintain order. The priest was a traitor, and you," Goku interrupted with a powerful and crushing voice, "no excuses. Now I am the one who decides what is order. And I promise I will rebuild this world, but without you in it." Goku suddenly disappeared, leaving behind a glimmer of dazzling light. In an instant that no one could notice, the High Priestess received a devastating punch straight to the face. The force was so immense that the High Priestess was thrown back for several meters, breaking the ground under his feet. Absolute silence dominated the place. Everyone was stunned by Goku's speed. Not even the angels were able to follow his movements. The High Priestess, who cleaned the blood that ran down his face, stood up with difficulty, but his eyes were full of hatred. Goku, now calmer but with a more imposing presence than ever, said in a severe voice, "This is just the beginning. If you think your pride can protect you, you are mistaken." The angels, trembling with fear at what they witnessed, looked at the High Priestess, waiting for his decision, but they knew that the confrontation had come out of control. The High Priestess, with eyes burning with anger, said in a hoarse voice, "I will not allow a rat like you to tell me what to do. I will restore order, and I will start by eliminating you." Goku did not seem surprised by the words of the High Priestess, but disappeared again, returning this time with an unbelievable attack. Dozens of consecutive punches were fired at the High Priestess at an absurd speed, each with enough strength to destroy an entire planet. The ground trembled with the intensity of the blows, and the High Priestess, who did not expect such speed and strength, found himself on the ground, his body covered in blood and wounds. The angels, who were watching, were in a state of absolute shock. One of them muttered with fear, "This is not a human power. It's something we can't even imagine." Goku, standing on the body of the fallen High Priestess, looked at him with a furious look and said in a severe and terrifying voice, "You talked about balance and more destroyed my life, my family, and my friends. If you call that balance, now I'm going to show you my justice." The High Priestess, who watched from afar, tried to retreat silently but froze in place when Goku suddenly turned to her. With a single look, she felt as if the earth under her feet was shaking. He said firmly, and you lied, deceived, and caused all this destruction. You will not be unpunished before justice." Goku raised his hand, loaded with a colossal energy that threatened to destroy everything in front of him. He looked at the High Priestess, and his voice was deep and firm. "I'll give you one last chance, High Priestess of the Angels. Tell me, who killed my family? Was it you, or someone manipulating all of us?" But the High Priestess, who could barely breathe, did not give any answer. The silence persisted, and everyone was frozen in their places without daring to move or speak. Goku, losing his patience, said with an intense fury, "If you don't have the courage to face the truth, then I will put an end to everything now." Everyone felt the terror of the moment that was to come. But suddenly, the scene was interrupted by the voice of the High Priestess, who shouted with a trembling tone, "Wait! Don't do that, Goku! It was me. I am responsible for all of this." These words struck everyone like a shock. Even the angels who were behind her began to murmur, disbelieving what they heard. Goku shouted with a voice that shook the place, "You? Why? What led you to kill my family?" The High Priestess, trying to control her tears, answered with difficulty, "I didn't kill you personally, but I was the cause. I wanted to protect my husband. I wanted to preserve his power. When I felt that his strength was exceeding all limits, I raised a discord between you and planned everything. I wanted to get rid of you." Goku said angrily, "I thought it was the angels who did it, and I killed Whis, destroyed Beerus, and all of this was the result of his lies." The earth began to tremble under Goku's feet, and his energy began to rise again, this time being a mixture of anger and sadness. He shouted with a voice that cut through the skies, "I will not forgive you, but you will pay for what you did." The moment Goku launched his devastating explosion, the High Priestess turned gray in a matter of seconds. The scene was so terrifying that everyone around was paralyzed with fear, unable to believe what they had just witnessed. The High Priestess, who was the mind behind so many conspiracies, found his end in an instant. However, the High Priestess, even knowing that she had lied and deceived him, exploded with anger when he saw that scene. He shouted with a voice that shook the entire palace, "You have exceeded all limits, Goku. Nobody kills a member of my family, even if they are wrong." The High Priestess advanced at an unbelievable speed, his energy emanating with such intensity that made the angels move away from the arena, unable to bear the pressure. He began to bomb Goku with a flood of blows, each strong enough to destroy an entire planet.
But Goku, who tried to avoid the fight, did not give up. He raised his hands, trying to calm the High Priestess, and said with a weakened voice, "Stop! Now I know the truth. There is no need for more destruction. Let's work together to fix this." Goku's words did not reach the High Priestess, who became even more furious and said, while he unleashed a powerful blow that threw Goku away, "There is no need to fix anything. As long as you are alive, the chaos will continue." Goku, who began to lose his strength after receiving those violent blows, returned to his normal form, and his complete galactic transformation disappeared. On his knees, he breathed with difficulty, looking at the High Priestess with tired eyes, but remained determined. He said with a hoarse voice, "You can't keep walking this path of destruction. This universe needs justice, not more chaos. We are stronger together." But the High Priestess was not listening. Hatred and anger were completely consumed. He raised his hand to launch a devastating blow against Goku, but suddenly, a different energy emerged between the two. When everyone looked, Vegeta was there, and Goku in his usual fighting aura next to the other friends. Everyone was united at that moment. Vegeta shouted with his loud voice, "Enough! That's enough, High Priestess! If you want to fight Kakarot, you'll have to go through us first!" The High Priestess stopped and said with a deep and hesitant voice, "Are you all willing to die for this man, even after everything he did?" Vegeta answered without hesitation, "Goku did nothing that deserves death. We are here to protect the truth, not to protect a single person." These words touched everyone, even the angels, who began to look at the High Priestess with uncertainty. Goku, facing the High Priestess, pointed his finger at him and said, "Do not dare to approach them. If you want something, come to me. I am your opponent. Leave my friends out of this." The High Priestess, with a rigid expression and a cold smile, answered with a sarcastic voice, "Your friends? They are just a burden. I will make them disappear one by one in front of your eyes until you realize that you have no real strength." The High Priestess began to attack the others, blow after blow. Goku's friends fell in front of him, one after the other. Even Vegeta, who tried to intervene, received the devastating attack and the pain that threw him to the ground, unable to move. Goku, watching all that destruction, felt an unprecedented pain. His hand trembled, and tears mixed with his anger. "You've taken everything from me. This time, I won't hold back. This time, I won't stand it." The energy around Goku began to rise uncontrollably. The earth trembled, the sky broke, and everyone in the place felt the terror. Even the High Priestess, for the first time, took a step back, realizing that growing and uncontrollable force. But Goku began to concentrate his energy on his body. He looked up at the sky for a moment, and then said, with a voice full of sadness, "You've taken everything from me. This time, I won't hold back." Vegeta, even wounded, shouted, "What are you doing?" But Goku ignored him. He turned to his friends who were still alive and said, "Forgive me. I failed to protect you, but I'll stop this nightmare, no matter the cost." The High Priestess shouted angrily, "Do you think you can sacrifice yourself just to stop me? You wouldn't dare." But Goku faced him with eyes full of determination and calmly responded. In that instant, Goku unleashed a blinding explosion of divine energy, a light that swept through every universe. Then came the final surge, a cataclysmic eruption that shattered reality itself, ending everything in silence. Nor of the others, except for an enigmatic figure that remained. If you know the name, write it in the comments, and I'll send you the next episode.